And good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing good. Nick from Comic Culture here. We're going to do the comic book look ahead, looking into September, seeing what books are coming out that month. And we're going to be using League of Comic Geeks to do that because I think it's the best platform that I'm aware of, anyways, that will show you what is coming out with some degree of accuracy because none of these platforms are 100% accurate. We can never anticipate all the weird delivery issues and production issues that we might face, but we're going to use League of Comic Geeks because that's what we've been doing for a very long time. Let me go ahead and get some stuff going here for 1 second. Appreciate you coming in. I know it's early right now. We got Billy coming in already. Thanks for coming in, dude. Hail to you as well, man. Doing those deadlifts, I bet, for sure. So we're going to give time for some people to kind of come in. I want to showcase one thing that just kind of happened, something I'm proud of and something that's going on in the community right now. I'm going to flip over to here real quick. And we're talking about the Comic Book Community Awards. And so I was lucky enough to be nominated in 2 different categories, which is pretty awesome. But I want you all to pay attention to this and maybe give your favorite creators some votes. I will leave a link to this as well inside of the description, and I'll even go ahead and post this over here in the chat for you all to take advantage of if you haven't yet. So yeah, go through here, pick your favorite creators in all these different categories. The link will be down in the comment section. So go ahead and do that. It's a pretty cool thing that they're doing. I was lucky enough to be in this last year as well, and got 2 nominations again this year. But pick your favorite one. You don't have to vote for me. Just pick your favorite one. That's all we ask. So that is what's going on there. So we're going to go ahead and get into it because sometimes this takes quite a long time. So let's get into it now. So we're using League of Comic Geeks. How do you use this? If you're not familiar, I do have a video on how to use League of Comic Geeks. You can check my playlist for that. But once you're in leagueofcomicgeeks.com, you can go over into New Comics on this left-hand side, and you can actually click this little calendar button and select the month you're looking in. So we're in August now. We're going to go to September. There is no new comic book day on the first week here, so we're going to go to the 7th, and it will load up what we have for that week. So one other tip I would recommend is using the filter button on the top right side, these little dials, and going to reprints and variants, because what that will do is it will actually show facsimiles that are coming out if you're into that game, and it will show the variant covers as well, so you can go ahead and see which covers you might want to get. A note on that though is sometimes they're exclusives or ratios, so pay attention to that. Your shop might not be able to get those, so just keep that in mind. So we're going to go ahead and take a peek and see what's coming out the first week here. We have 007 it says number 1, which is odd. That might just be an error. And number 2, I didn't see anybody getting 007 number 1. I didn't hear any chatter about it. So, hey, number 2 is coming out. Who cares? And as we keep going, we have Death to the Mutants issue number 2. I don't think I even picked up issue number 1 because I really don't care about the event. It's interrupting my X-Men Immortal and X-Men proper, and I just don't care about the event in general. I think it's a weird, stupid premise, and so I'm not necessarily interested in what's going on in any kind of X-Men books at the moment. I just want them to kind of pick back up and get back to their original narratives. What else do we have going on? We have Alien. So I think this is another Philip Kennedy Johnson. We have a new Alien number 1. I love this cover. Let me go ahead and open this and show you what this cover looks like. That's pretty sick. It's gruesome, man. It's gruesome, but I love it. It's pretty awesome. And what else we got going on? So one tip I will say is if you are on League, open a new tab whenever you go into a book, because if you don't and you hit the back button, it will take you back to the current week, and then you got to go back to September and figure out what week you were in and all that nonsense. So open a new tab whenever you want to dive into a book and see who the creator is or something like that. So let's keep going. So we see those other variants of Alien number 1, All Out War number 1. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I care enough about it. We'll flip through it when we get to the shop. We're going to flip through it when we get to the shop, I think. That's the best way to go about these kinds of books nowadays. Been hanging out with a lot of independent creators. You? Awesome. Awesome. Off to a quick start. Station Flash, what's going on, dude? Yeah, I know. So whenever I do whenever I add the filter for variants or reprints, it takes forever. It takes like an hour and 20, hour and a half sometimes. And I'm just trying to blast through it right now. Agree about X-Men? Yeah, dude, it's lost the narrative completely. It's wearing me out for sure. All right, All Out Avengers, nah, maybe. Cute Scotty cover, but I don't know, yours. Second printing of Batman number 1. I didn't appreciate this book when it came out. I think in retrospect it was better than I gave it credit for. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. What else is going on? And as always, as I'm going through these books, if I'm, going past a book that you think is worth it, let me know in the comments for sure. Because, I don't know everything. I want to hear your opinions as well. Like Azrael's book a few weeks back. Yeah, that wasn't bad. The art style threw me off a little bit because I was just so used to that Arkham Knights, what is it, Order of the New World, or Arkham City Order of the New World, whatever that was. I was used to that art style from Danny, and the art style threw me off because it was a little more anime-ish, but it was a fun book. It was a good number 1. Did number 2 come out? Did I just go past that already? Let me know if number 2 is already out, because I don't recall it being out yet. Basilisk number 11. That's a series I had really high hopes for. It's Colin Bunn. Longtime viewers of the channel know that I have a love-hate relationship with Colin Bunn, and I liked the premise up front, but then it kind of lost me as it went on. It just didn't seem to progress. I was like, man, are we ever going to get to are we ever going to get anywhere? Or are we, I don't know. It was an interesting premise though. So number 11's out. Apparently there was a hiatus, and it's coming back now because it should be way past 11, I think, by now. Batman 127. I'm loving the new Batman run so far. But I didn't mind Tynan's run either. So, I guess my taste in Batman is awful compared to most people that I talk to. 007. Did you get number 1, Mason? Did you get number 1? Because number 2's, I guess, coming out. I didn't see it at the shop. Let me know. X-Men Legends books. Looks good. Going to read it today. Yeah, I have I have number 1. And then I think is it Jim Rugg? Jim Rugg's doing an ink sketch variant, I think, for number 2, which is pretty fun. You did not. Yeah, I didn't even see it at the shop, man. Didn't even see it at the shop. Yeah, X-Men Legends was pretty cool. I mean, if you have that nostalgic experience with X-Men in general, I think you're gonna like that. So it was pretty interesting. It was like Wolverine, and who was the guy that he was all made of diamond and stuff, right? And they were going to investigate some mutants or something like that. All right, so yeah, these Batman books, the new run of Batman is pretty interesting. I do like that. And we have Neo, year number 6. I think I read issue number 1. I just didn't really care. I just kept on going for that one. What is this? Dear Detective number 1. Interesting art, that's he's always a good artist, but there's just so many Batman books out, man. I'm already reading Detective, and I'm already reading Main Batman. Killing Time just ended, thank God. And then what other Batman books am I reading? I dropped a few of them. I started a bunch of them, and I just dropped a whole bunch of them because there's just too many of them. I need to diversify my characters when I'm reading this many books per week. Black Panther, I hear good things. I just never really got around to it. We'll see where that one goes. Let's see, Blade Runner, Boogeyman number 1 from Ablaze. These kind of books are always on my radar. They're books that I always want to pick up the number 1 just to kind of do a temperature check and see if it's something that I enjoy the writing from, or if I enjoy the art style or just the main story. If it comes in, I might check it out, at least flip through it, at least, see what's going on. Lots of variants, man. Holy crap. Sentinel of Liberty is a pretty interesting book. Captain America. This is Sentinel of Liberty number 4. That it's a fun story, but it's one of those stories where it's there's a mass conspiracy. There's this mass power out there that basically runs 5 different areas of humanity across the world, and they unite forces and things like that. And Captain America kind of gets this hint of this underbelly, right? And he's going to explore it. And he comes across a base where it's filled with different collaboration of enemies that we all know and love throughout the Marvel universe. And so he's trying to uncover all that stuff. So it's a pretty intriguing. It's like a mystery, which I think is pretty cool. He's uncovering this big conspiracy theory. So I've been liking it so far. It's on issue number 4 coming up here pretty soon. Big Herm's in the house. What's going on, brother? Thanks for coming in. Good morning. Good morning. I thought you were going to catch the replay. You're here early, dude. You're here early. What's going on, man? All right, so Sentinel of Liberty. What else we got going on? We have all these Miracle Man variants coming out soon because we got a new number 1 apparently coming out in a little while. So you're going to be seeing a lot of these Miracle Man variants if we haven't already seen them in the previous month. Cover the Dead with Lime number 1. That's interesting. Blue Moon. Okay. Dark Crisis. Okay, so I don't like the Crisis event itself, but I like what I saw in issue number 2. I like sections of issue number 1. I like pieces of issue number 2, and I like pieces of issue number 3. So I don't like the whole thing in general, but like some of the scenes, some of the battles, some of the conflict that they have in there was actually pretty interesting in issue number 2 and 3, I thought. But like I said in my reviews, as soon as we back out, if we zoom back out to the Crisis event of it, it's like, nah, I can't get on board necessarily. But it's intriguing. It's intriguing. Second print of Daredevil number 1, pretty interesting series so far. I wish it would just team up with Punisher and get it over with, because I think that's what we're all kind of waiting for. But Batman Fortress endorses Antifa. Wow, cool, man. I know you're always on top of that stuff. I could care less. Just woke up. Only got to sleep. Yeah. So this is you sleeping in. Well, I guess you're in Eastern time, right? Yeah, so you're in Eastern time. So you're an hour ahead of me. Oh, I'm glad you can join me. I'm glad you can join me. What else we got? Crisis. Detective. These are really cool covers now that Rom's on there. We get these really interesting, really weird looking covers. So I do like that. Great first issue, I thought, of Detective Comics. So check that one out. Dead Lucky number 2. I think this was in that Radiant Black universe. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you can dive into there. And there's a new character they introduced. She's pretty cool. Her power set's very interesting so far, or at least a hint of what we've seen. And she's got an interesting, local city government kind of a problem that she's trying to face right now with some gangs and things like that. So, if you're into that Radiant Black universe, you might like that one. Then we have these Dark Knights of Steel Tales from the Three Kingdoms number 1. That Dan Mora art, which is always good. We might not be dipping into that. I didn't really read Dark Knights of Steel. I collected, I think, until issue 7. Never really got into it. And so, here we are. Devil's Tree, 8 Billion Genies, 3rd print number 1. Okay, so if you haven't picked up any of them yet, here's your opportunity to get all these reprints coming out. We have a 3rd printing of number 2 and a 3rd printing of number 3. Cool covers. They're always really bright and cute and whatever. It's actually a good story. 2nd printing for number 4 is coming out too. It's actually a really good story. So I would recommend picking up these 3rd printings, not even from a spec perspective, but like if you didn't pick up the 1st printing or the 2nd printing or something like that, and you want to see what series is about, you can actually pick these up. And I think the shop that I go to actually has a bunch of these already pre-ordered. So I think we'll be okay. From my shop's perspective, I'll probably pick up a copy of each just to have all the different printings and stuff like that. So I can retire one day on all these reprints, right? Isn't that the idea? Saying hi to everyone. Batman is in good hands, Rom and Chip. Yeah, I think so too. Although I don't like, isn't Chip doing oh gosh, what's that prequel Batman book that's out right now? Isn't he doing that book? I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head at the moment. It's still too early. I'm only a half a cup of coffee in right now. Been meaning to check out 8 Billion Genies. Morning all. What's up, Miso? So yeah, check it out, man. All the different reprints are coming out. So it's pretty good. Dark Knights is still mini story. I'm reading the main story. How do you like the main story? I heard it was at least interesting because the art was really cool, right? And it's all the characters kind of in that medieval setting. I was getting all those Middleton covers for a while, and then I think on issue number 7 he just didn't do it, so it broke the chain of variants, and I'm like, I'm not even reading these, and now they just swapped the covers on me. So is it even worth it? Need a copy of the 1st issue of Genies, don't we all? I have the 1st print and 2nd print, and I think 3rd print, right? Because this is 3rd print. I have 1st and I have cover A, cover B, and then I have 2nd print, I think. Thank you. Yeah, Batman the Knight. That's the other book. Yeah. Thank you very much for letting me know that. All right, what do we got? We have another Blue Moon. Blue Moon's interesting. I wonder what's going on there because this is like the 2nd Blue Moon book. Endangered number 1. This is 2nd printing of 2, and then number 3 is coming out. Interesting. This book is not on my radar at all, and we're hitting for 2nd printings for 1 and 2. That's interesting. I wonder what the threshold was for those reprints. Evil Ernie, I definitely pre-ordered this one. I hope so. This facsimile edition, number 1, this 30th anniversary of Evil Ernie. I don't think I've ever read anything Evil Ernie. My buddy did, and he had like an Evil Ernie, I think it was Lady Death and Evil Ernie crossover trade, and then I showed it off one time, and Barry McLean Jr., the artist for Billy the Kid, actually saw that post, and we worked out a deal, and we did a swap, and so he's really into it. So that's pretty cool. So I want to get these. I always get these facsimiles. I try to get them whenever I can because I think it's pretty interesting to get those. Flashpoint Beyond, I think this is one of my favorite DC books. I think it's probably, I need to actually sit down and write them out, but I think it's in like my top 3 to 4, maybe 3 DC books out right now, Flashpoint Beyond, because I like the universe. I like how they're exploring it some more now. There's a gigantic mystery about why it even exists to begin with, but they're bringing back all these characters as if the original Flashpoint didn't happen, but the only person that remembers it ever happening is Thomas Wayne. And so he's like, wait a minute, I converted Barry Allen back into the Flash. You know, we stopped this war, we did all this and all this, but like none of that happened, but he has the memory of it and he's reliving this now, and that universe has time to breathe now and can actually show us what it's got, right? Rick and Morty style. So I do like that. It's been pretty cool so far. Gambit, really don't care. Is this the one that's didn't Chris Claremont write this one? This one came out already, right? Gambit #1, and I didn't really hear any chatter about it. I'm sure there was chatter, but I didn't hear about it. And so I don't know. Is anybody reading Gambit #1? Let me know if you are, for sure, because I didn't really hear too much about it. Ghost Rider #6. I know some people are getting that book. I jumped on, I think it was like an issue 1, but it felt like an issue 0, and then I kind of jumped out of it again. Just didn't do enough to grip me at that moment. Grimm #2. It's the 3rd printing coming up. You know, interesting run. Has a different feel than I thought I was going to have, so maybe it just didn't hit me as well as I was hoping it would. Highball #1 from Ahoy Comics. That's going to be interesting. Ahoy Comics. I can't remember if I've ever gotten an Ahoy comic from any other run before. Immortal X-Men #6. Suffering from the tie-in right now. Who knows how long it's going to go. But I kind of liked Immortal X-Men other than the tie-in. It was an interesting peek behind the closed doors of the Quiet Council. But, you know, there's a lot of weird battles going on right now in the X-Men world in general, outside of even the Celestials and things like that. And so, yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see where Immortal goes. Then we have all of our Red Sonias, if you're into that kind of stuff. What else we got? Jeff John's awesome art. Yeah, doing a really good job on that book, for sure. Not planning on getting issue #2. Yeah, no kidding. Yep. Let's keep going. Magic the Gathering #18. That's a book that I started with, and I just never really got into it. Let's see. We got some Marauders. Metal Society #5. This is actually probably in my top 5 of the year so far. Metal Society in general, and #5, The Conclusion, is coming out right now. This is a Top Cow Image book. It's every issue that's come out so far has made my like top 2 or 3 of the month so far, and every issue is great. #1, 2, 3, and 4 are all great, and #5's coming, and I'm gonna be really sad when it goes, but it's one of the best books out right now, I think, on the indie scene for sure. Let's see what else we got. We have My Management Bootleg. I have issue #1. I still haven't read it yet. It's probably still on a stack right there. If you see books behind me, these are all books that I'm like trying to organize and sell right now. But I'm trying to do that on Instagram, but you know, traction is really difficult on there because there's just so much competition out there right now. But My Management is a series I'm interested in. It's just there's so much stuff out there, man. I don't know what's going on. Gambit was unreadable. Well, there you go. If you're a big X-Men or Gambit fan, I'd recommend it. But how big do you need to be? Like, I like the X-Men. I like the concept of X-Men. I don't know everything about them. I'm trying to correct that. I'm trying to read more and more. But like, I think I jumped in right around the Hickman era, and everything was sunshine and rainbows, right? Everything was great. And then like post Hickman era has been just nonsense and tie-ins and crap. So didn't Death Metal reset everything? Then Flashpoint universe would have been restored as well. I don't know what it actually reset, honestly. I read about halfway through Death Metal, and the problem with the Crisis events in DC is that you need to have some kind of an understanding, I think, of the previous Crisis events, and they all kind of compile on top of each other. My general understanding of Death Metal was that Perpetua was like the main orchestrator for like everything, historically speaking, and I'm not entirely sure if that's completely accurate, but there was some resetting done when that all happened, and I don't know. I didn't have enough historical concepts down to really appreciate death metal as much as somebody else that has been reading DC forever. That's the problem with the big two. The problem with big two is if you're an average reader and you want to get into comics and you start reading something and an event happens, you have no context or historical understanding of any of the characters or past events. And so you feel like you're kind of left behind. So you would read an issue and say, that's crap. And then somebody else would read the issue and say, that's the best book that came out this week, right? That's what happened with X-Men Red with me. I read it and said, I don't understand what's going on. And then other people read it and said, X-Men Red's the best X-Men book. I'm like, what are you talking about? That book's garbage. But that's my experience. That's the problem. So that's that. So where are we? Moon Knight, number 15. I like the new direction we're going in. I think the new arc started in 13. 13 was good. He's back to fighting some vampires. He's battling his own identities and things like that. So it's actually pretty cool. So I do like 13, 14, 15. I'm looking forward to as well. We might have to turn off these variants just because this is going to take forever going through all these variants. It definitely like quadruples the results here. But let's go. New Mutants. What is this? The Ninjets? What is going on here? It's getting more and more weird the further you go down here. Okay. Poison Ivy, Once in Future. I heard that series kind of fell off. We're 29 issues in. I'm sure it's going to get stale at some point. You'd think. But I heard this series started pretty well. And then we're kind of falling off. It came out around the time Something's Killing the Children came out, if I'm not mistaken. And I picked up Something's Killing the Children and not Once in Future, and so I think I made the right choice. Poison Ivy, interesting story. Number 3 was bad, or not as good as number 1 and number 2. So we'll see where it goes from there. If you're a Frizzen fan, you can get that cover right there as well. And then we have some other awesome variants. Unfortunately, they're 1 in 25s, so that's kind of a bummer. Punisher, issue number 6. Punisher's a great book. It's probably one of the best Marvel books out right now. And it's definitely picking up and it's interesting. And we have Ares right now, and we're going to have our big Punisher Ares event coming up. And Ares bringing back the nostalgic Punisher icon. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But I'm really looking forward to the Daredevil crossover. And it feels like Daredevil, at least in issue number 2, is kind of delaying that inevitable crossover. And I'm like, damn it, just get into it. And you can hear more about that in my reviews for sure. Go back to 70s and 80s X-Men. I don't have a whole lot of familiarity with 70s X-Men, for sure. So I think I've read up to like issue 30 something in volume 1. Just to do it. And some of that stuff's a little bit unbearable when you have a modern eye and a modern brain when you're reading those issues, and you're just like, it kind of feels like you're reading Shakespeare or watching some kind of old movie from back in the day, where it's kind of unbearable compared to today's standards. But you understand the importance of it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, today's content is clearly different than back then, and what worked then wouldn't work now, but you still appreciate what it did. Moon Knight is Marvel's best book. I would argue it's in the top 5 that I'm reading anyways. I'm sure there's plenty that I'm not reading right now. Punisher, Moon Knight, Daredevil is Marvel street level on fire. Yeah, so I think it's the most relatable characters that they have, right? When you start getting into Eternals and things like that, people lose interest because they just can't relate to the problems that they have. From a perspective, from inner monologue to everything, it's just so much easier to connect with somebody that's on the street like you, and you can relate to their problems, and you can understand their internal dialogue, and you can understand their motives and things like that. So there you go. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I totally get it. Yeah, for sure. I started reading comics back in like 2015, 2016, something like that. So I'm a late bloomer. I didn't start reading comics until I was well into my adult years. So when I read something like that now, I can feel how dated it is, but I also have this like layer of maturity where I can say, oh, this was super important, and it meant a lot at the time. But sometimes it's hard to get through, man. That Claremont stuff, as great as it is, it's like reading a novel sometimes with all that dialogue. All right, so let's keep going in here. We have some. So if you know, let's see here. Okay, this is alphabetical. Sometimes it's by best, or what is it, like most polled or something like that. So this is A through Z, I believe. So we're gonna get some weird stuff peppered into some mainstream stuff. So like here's some Xenoscope things. We have Sabrina, Scarlet's sister, She-Hulk. I still have not seen episode 1 of She-Hulk. I need to see it. Me and my wife, we have like 6 different shows we want to watch right now that are all starting, either have started already or are about to start. And so we're trying to prioritize, and I'm like, okay, which ones don't you care about? And she gave me a list, and then I gave her a list of ones I don't care about. And so it's like we're just kind of going back and forth trying to figure out where we're going to start. So that's where we are right now. It's difficult when you have so many shows and very little time. We have Sheena, Something's Killing the Children, issue number 25. Oh, second print. Okay. Spider-Man. We got some Star Trek love in here. I'm getting all these Sprouse variants. In fact, I have a stack of boxes I haven't opened yet. I might do a little unboxing at the end of this video and maybe just cut it and make 2 videos out of it, where I'm collecting these because I really like these covers. These Sprouse one, the Choose Your Destiny ones. That's totally a Blame Phable moment for sure. But there you go. Then we have Obi-Wan number 5. I need that book to go somewhere. I like all the tales that he's telling right now, like what happened and the different relationships, but I need the story to move forward. Like what's happening? Is it going to be his journal and that's it, or are we going to go somewhere and do something else? I don't know. Street Fighter. I love these these action figure covers. These are pretty cool just because of the color and the art style. I think it works really, really well. So these are really fun. If I was in the Street Fighter and I didn't care about $25 in books, I would pick these 5 up. Those are pretty interesting. Sword of Ezreal number 2. So there it is. We were talking about that one earlier. Yeah, she's a great writer. I think you're going to find that perhaps you'll find that issue number 1 and 2 are more compelling than issue number 3. So, yep. Old school is the best for sure. Sal, what's going on? Good morning. How's it going? I'm buying all that Star Trek. You're the one. You're the one buying all that Star Trek. You're keeping them afloat. You're keeping food on their table, man. That's funny. Yeah, love a good Street Fighter book. If you can find time between that and your Transformer stuff, right? I think that's great. You're reading some of that older stuff. Sword of Ezreal number 2. Interesting. I know we have some Turtle stuff coming up. There's a new number 1. I wonder if it hit FOC already. I can't remember. It's like Armageddon or something like that. I think Eastman was going to do a cover. And of course, they use this default cover right here. If you can see this not final art, they use this cover a lot for those kinds of things from Eastman. So just be warned on that. Time Before Time. I dropped that one pretty early on. And same thing with that Texas Blood. Talon Called Terror. Don't buy the single issues. If you're interested in the book, just buy the trade when it comes out, because they don't know how to pace that book. It wasn't designed for single issue, and if it was poorly designed for single issue. Great story, amazing art. I'm not going to say great story. It's a good story. It's got some interesting elements. There's not a whole lot of progression. Things happen pretty slowly, but it's at least drawn really, really well. Twig, super fun, charming hero's adventure story. Lots of interesting stuff. Has a dark twist to it. It's really fun. The execution's good. It gets a little bit of crap from time to time, but I think it's definitely worth it if you're into that Kanto kind of a vibe, but you want something a little bit more fun and playful, but has the potential to get dark and twisted pretty quickly. So Twig is pretty fun. All right, we have a bunch of Walking Dead, Until My Knuckles Bleed, Vampirilla. What's the furthest place from here? These variants are the Walking Dead ones. I thought I would pick up a lot more than I am picking up. I haven't picked one up in a very, very long time, honestly. We're 46 issues in. I was going to go back and just get all the key issues, but there's a lot of key issues in The Walking Dead, honestly. And I have a lot of them already in first print. So there. I heard Obi-Wan's going to get romantically involved with Tim Drake. Hey, you never know, man. You never know. The Shredder variant is good. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah. You never know what they're going to do, man. I think, and you would have called it first. And we're all here. We all saw it happen. Oh, geez. All right, let's go into the next week. We're going to turn off variants for now because it took 30 minutes to get through 1 week, and we have 4 weeks. So, Judgment Day. Again, I don't really care about the thing, but it's coming out. And here we are. We're going to get judged. We're all going to get judged. Above Snakes, issue number 3. I liked issue number 2 more than issue number 1. Number 3 is coming out. I'm definitely going to keep getting it because it's a fun story. it's got this weird element up front. There's this weird, interesting character, which I think they're going to explore as we keep going, but it's been a fun book so far. ASM number 9, I'm kind of like hate reading this book at the moment because I just don't see it. I don't want to hate on Spider-Man, but it's like, it feels like the direction's really odd. It hasn't been really thought out yet. And I'm going to keep reading it for now. It's kind of like X-Men. I'm like, I'll keep reading it just to see kind of where it goes, but because I feel like I should read it because of what it is. It just, I don't think it's getting the love it deserves from a creative perspective at this point, though. What else we got? Batman versus Robin. So this is a continuation, from my understanding. This is the continuation of the current World's Finest run from Mark Waid. We're getting a new art team on here. We had Dan Mora on the original run 1 through 5, I think. And then number 6, somebody else picked up, and that was kind of a meh issue. And then we have a new artist coming in for number 1. So I'm looking forward to that one, seeing where it goes. 5-hour show? I don't think so. I don't think so. What's going on here? Walking Dead is disrespectful of how crazy people are in Georgia are. Disrespectful for how people in Georgia are. I've been to Georgia, man. I know. It didn't start in Georgia. That's funny. Yep. All right. So Batman and Robin, interesting. Hush. If you haven't read Hush, this might be a good time to pick it up and go forward. It's an interesting story. It has its ups and downs. It's actually one of the first Batman events I collected and read when I first started reading back in the day. Bone Orchard Mythos 10,000 Black Feathers number 1. So we're gonna have a bunch of this Bone Orchard Mythos stuff coming out soon. So we have a new number 1. I still haven't read the other one. I have it in my trade wall over here. I need to get into that because I hear it's a fast read and it's good. Somebody brought it up as one of the best books of last month or last couple months. So ASM's not good for new readers. It's good for new readers, but not for the loyal long timers. Is it good for the new readers? I'm reading it and I'm like, what the hell? What was interesting was I think some of the most recent issues of ASM, I was reading it and like Peter was still broke and still trying to figure things out. Now he's got these weird hospital bills from the Beyond era, and he's trying to figure this stuff out. Everyone didn't like him, and then all of a sudden, he almost gets killed by Tombstone and his gang and things like that. And it's like, I read issue number 1 of ASM of Spider-Man, and it was like, I'm broke. What do I do? I got to fight this villain. I got to go team up with the Fantastic Four because they have all the money. And I'm like, he's still broke. 900 issues later. Good God. get a paper route or something. I don't know. Let's see. Daredevil number 3, interesting number 1 and number 2. Again, it's postponing that Punisher event, man. I want it to go forward. Get with Punisher, but at least they have an interesting character that was introduced, Goldie. He seemed pretty fun. His power set was interesting, and we'll see where he goes from there. He's being puppeted, as you can see right here, and so that was kind of alluded to in issue number 2. So wanted to see what goes on there. Dark Spaces Wildfire number 3. It's an interesting book. It's a Scott Snyder book. You can tell immediately. Hayden Sherman does some great work on the art. It's a cool story in general. It had its cringe moments in issue number 2 from time to time, especially during the back half of it. It's a very fast-paced book, though. They're getting right into it. We're issue number 2, and like we were introduced to the people and the plan in issue number 1, and issue number 2 we're already executing the plan. So it's like they're not wasting any time at all. I'm wondering how many issues this series actually is, because they're kind of blasting through it right now. Do a Powerbomb number 4. Every issue gets better and better, I think. Issue number 1 was a great, compelling introduction to the story. Issue number 2 had this amazing this amazing twist at the end. And issue number 3 really got into the action. It's showing you how high the stakes are. And they're not the only people entering this tournament, this like Mortal Kombat style tournament, with some kind of like desperation or goal in mind. And so everyone's do or die, right? Every team that they face. So like the stakes are extremely high, and it's going to get more fun and creative as they go. And Daniel Warren Johnson's doing a great job on the art there. So that's going to be really fun. Besides the MJ mystery. Yeah, you talk about like with the kids and everything. Yeah. Yeah, I know. But we're like 9 issues. How many issues are we in? We're like 9 issues in. I'm like, give me something. I need some answers, man. They set up a lot of things, a lot of questions, and a lot of weird mysteries in the first issue. And we're 9 issues in, and I'm not any of the wiser. So it's like I need you to spoon feed me a little bit You know, it seems like we got introduced to all this chaos, and then we flipped out of that and went into this tombstone thing, which I thought was pretty fun. And then we're coming out of that. We had a bad issue 900, I thought. And then we're going into, we're continuing the story, but I'm not any of the wiser from issue number 1. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I just said. Yeah, precisely. It's like you don't introduce conflict and then not touch it for 9 issues. It's like, oh. Yeah, because I hear it's real easy to do that. It's like the most punishing thing. The most punishing thing. Yeah, right. It's not. Yeah, it's not like a war zone or anything like that, but it's definitely hard. You should definitely do it though. That's funny. Elvira and Horrorland, I've been picking these up because I hear it's pretty fun. I think I have 3 or so of the issues down here in the stack. I need to unbox still and get going. Firepower 24, big battle issue last issue. Very fun, art's great. Chris Samney's on the art. He does a really good job of making all that pop, you know. The Flash, Fastest Man Alive. All you Ezra Miller fans out there, you got this Flash book coming out. I think it's the official tie-in, if I'm not mistaken, to the movie coming out soon. So no wonder they're not getting rid of it. They already printed comics for it. How many issues? Is this a 3-issue thing? Yeah. It's a 3-issue thing. Oh, there you go. Official movie tie-in comic. $6. I got to recap. I got to recoup all that lawyer fees. All right. Let's see. What else we got going on? Heavy Metal. Lady Hell. Jurassic League number 5. A fun reinterpretation, reimagination of the DC heroes in a Jurassic era. It is pretty fun. You get all you get your favorite heroes. You get some of your favorite villains. Crap really hit the fan last issue, and so we'll see where this issue goes. It's a 6-issue series, so pick it up. Do a powerbomb, absolutely. It is a tie-in. What are you talking about? Which one are you talking about? Last Shadowhawk 3D. I stay away from all that. Love Everlasting, issue number 2. Interesting number 1. We essentially have this lady who's kind of jumping from time periods, and she doesn't really understand how or why, and we as a reader don't really know either. And she keeps falling in love with these men in her life, but they remind her of her past life's love or something like that. And she gets them mixed up, and she's realizing she's in this like infinite wheel of kind of torture right now. And so, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. I'm sure she's going to be seeking some answers in the next couple of issues. It's Tom King, so be warned. There's probably going to be some weird twists and things like that, and jumping around and things, because he seems to like to do that kind of stuff. Masquerade, it says Kevin Smith is doing this one. I think I got an issue number 1 pre-ordered, so we'll see if this one's going to be any good. We have Midnight Suns, in case you're into that kind of stuff. Predator number 2. I thought number 1 was pretty interesting. I like the relationship between our main character and like the AI ship that she's in right now. She's got a good reason to be mad at predators and seeking her revenge. So I thought it all worked. I like it when a main character kind of has like a robot sidekick or something like that, like Berserker or hell, even like Venom. You know, it's essentially the main character with some kind of other personality to bounce dialogue off of. And usually it's comedic, and it's kind of fun. So I didn't mind Predator number 1. I'm looking forward to number 2. Let's see what else we got. Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, the book I dropped off of because it was interesting, but not enough. There's not enough interest there. Sacrament issue number 2. AWA, great publisher, putting out some cool stuff. So I'll be checking out number 2. Interesting world they set up. Samurai Doggy number 2, great issue number 1. I'd recommend that one too. I had to read that one online. Issue number 2 is coming out though, so if you want to pick it up, there it is. Seven Sons number 4. That's a series that like it started really well, I thought, and then it's just been going kind of down ever since. And so I'll probably read it for another issue or 2 and see if it picks up. If it doesn't, I'll probably cut that one. And there you go. Son of Kal-El, we have Obi-Wan. I think we talked about Obi-Wan a little bit. Not sure how it got back on here. Hyperspace Stories number 2. I'm interested because it's a Dark Horse run, and it's Luke and Leia. I think it's post return, of the Jedi, and so I think it's them, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read the solicitation just a few days ago, so I'm interested in that time period. So we'll see where it goes from there. Then we have Bounty Hunters, Space Lady, Silver Coin, a story I need to pick up on for sure. Ezra's killing me. DC needs another reboot. Trying to join his cult. I hear he's yeah, I mean you'll be in good company. You're gonna have tons of like miners and missing people from all over the country, all in his little estate and everything like that. So yeah, you'll have at least a crowd of people to hang out with. Marvel could use another reboot. Comics or MCU? Yeah, no kidding. That guy's weird, man. That guy is weird. He needs therapy, sure. Yeah, he needs this. He likes to write overly complicated stories sometimes, for sure. After reading Killing Time, I'm like, oh my God. I saw you don't really understand what he's doing until like issue 5. And there's only, what, 6 issues or something like that? Maybe there's 5. And so, yeah, it's like overly complicated up front. You don't really understand the reason until you get to the very end. You're like, oh, but was it worth it? I don't know. You like Predator 1? I did too. It's a good run. Silver Coin, issue number 14. I need to catch up on all those. Vampirilla, Van Helsing, Venom. I've dropped Venom. Dropped it. I gave it 9 issues. And, you know, ASM is heading in that direction, but I feel like ASM is more important culturally than Venom. But does that mean I need to suffer through what I would consider not a great story? I don't know. But I did drop Venom, though, because I just couldn't take it anymore. Red, issue number 6, and we have some Hellboy love out there as well. We got these old X-Men 92s coming out. I didn't get these, though, but I think some of the old school guys would like that one. All right, how many weeks do we have in this? I think we only have 4, right? Is it not going to let me click on it? Yeah, we have 4. Okay. 20th Century Men. I enjoyed issue number 1. I didn't quite understand it, though. I feel like there's a lot of depth and stuff going on in there that I just couldn't wrap my head around. And so I'm going to read it for another issue or 2 and see if I can get on board, because I feel like it's something that would be special, but I just need a little bit more to get into that mind frame. Judgment Day number 5. I think we talked about Judgment Day in general. Absolution number 3, another fun AWA book. It's kind of like a modern day Running Man, back from the day, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Running Man, or like a Twitch TV meets Assassins kind of a thing. So it's a fun concept. So you know, it's been interesting. I think when the run's over, it's not going to be like super memorable. It's just kind of fun while it's happening. So, you know, if you're looking for that kind of a book, there you go. Not everything is worthy of keeping forever. You know, you read it, you enjoy it, and you know, you can try to, you know, get somebody else on board with it or something like that. Let's see what else is going on. Avengers number 60. Avengers Forever. We have Black Adam number 4. I actually dropped Black Adam. I read the first 2 issues and I'm like, not really into the character that much. So I don't know. I just didn't want to get into it right now. And plus I'm reading Dark Crisis and I'm like, this doesn't align continuity wise. He's got a movie coming out and he's dying in the first issue. It's like, what? It just didn't make any sense to me. So we'll see. If it turns around, maybe I'll pick it back up. I have the first 3, I believe. I haven't read number 3 yet. Axe to Grind, issue number 2. Interesting story. Again, it has a main character with some kind of a sidekick to bounce comedic dialogue off of. So I think it's pretty fun. Arts are usually pretty good. Maurice's doing that one. World's Finest number 7. Am I completely wrong with this whole Batman versus Robin thing? Because here's a number 7 from Wade. Mora's back on, which is interesting. What else? How many else? Oh, we have 8. We have 9. Okay, so Wade's just doing a Batman versus Robin on top of World's Finest. So I stand corrected. Interesting. I think 6 is a filler issue, and then I think 7 we're going to be picking back up into what our story is going to be. So I definitely need to check my polls and make sure I have 7 on there, because I could have sworn it ended. Two-Face number 1, One Bad Day. They did who was it? Riddler just recently, and I didn't get that one. I heard a bunch of mixed reviews on it. Again, it's just another Batman book. It's another Tom King book, and I'm like, I don't think I want to get into that right now. Beware the Eye of Odin. I have issue number 1 and 2. That's on my backlog right now. I heard Manny at Chamorro Cinema really likes that one, so I might be picking that one up. What else? Bloodborne. I think I got these all pre-ordered as well. Haven't gotten into them yet. I don't remember if number 1 even came out. Maybe it was delayed, something like that. I don't remember. Berserker's a pretty good book. The release schedule really sucks for it, unfortunately. I think it's every other month, something like that. And so, but number 10 is coming out. This book is, when did the first issue come out? Because I feel like we're only 10 issues in. Number 1 came out in March of 2021. So you can do the math there. We're already a few months past March, and we're only 10 issues into a a monthly book. So the release schedule has not been too kind with Berserker, especially in the last 8 months or so. I would say, or the last 6, 7, 8 months. Carnage number 6. I think it's a great title so far. I think it's a great title. So I can't wait to see what's going on there. Mason, what are you talking about? Give it a 10. What? Give it a. What are you talking about? Anyone reading Black Adam? I just covered that one. Berserker is good. It made my top 5 of last year. It made my top 5. It's a cool story. It's not just all about blood and guts and gore and things like that. It's not Keanu Reeves putting his name on a book and it has no substance or meaning and it is garbage. Berserker's actually really, really good. I maybe the people giving it a review are just focusing on the blood and the guts and the gore and they don't like that kind of stuff. But if you actually listen to the story and actually pay attention to what's going on, I think it's really good. These comics are a mess. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I'm a huge DC fan. Sure. Yeah. Oh, Venom. Gotcha. No. No, I don't think I will. I don't think I will in my old man cat voice. Don't think I will. I jumped off of Catwoman after Prison left and after Rom left, essentially. So I'm not really reading those anymore. Let's see what's going on here. Creepshow number 1, just like a fun book. I want to pick it up, see what it's all about. Crashing number 1. There's all these weird medical books coming out. We had The Ward, we had ETER, now we have Crashing number 1 from IDW. And I was like, maybe enough's enough. I read probably 4 or 5 issues of the other 2, issues number 1 and number 2s and things like that. And I saw Crashing number 1's coming out, and I'm like, I think I've had enough. But I mean, it's cool they're in that space because I don't know if there's any other books like that out. There's plenty of other weird books out there, but like it's fun to have a monster, demon, whatever, medical related book. I think that's pretty fun. There's probably an audience there for that, but they need a good creative team on it, and they need it on a major publisher to really get any kind of traction on that theme, though. I think so. Venom. Nah. I liked Rom's run, and then I read like 3 issues in the Teeny's run, 3 or 4 issues in the Teeny Howard's run, and I'm like, I don't know. It was a big shift for sure. Venom. All right, Eminem, calm down. Deceased, War of the Undead Gods, issue number 2. I like the original Deceased. I think that what was it, a 12-issue run, and this is like an 8-part run, I think. I like that universe. I don't mind DC versus Vampires. I think that's a fun book as well. It's pretty cool. Edge of the Spider-Verse. I'm sure there's gonna be spec after spec after spec of every single issue there, and it's like, okay, I'll buy it for cover price, and it'll go to like $8, and then it'll die down for 20 years until that character hits some kind of movie or something, probably. I think the last book was a soft key on Key Collector, and I think our shop had 2 or 3 or 4 copies left over. And it's like, that crowd didn't care, and I didn't care, honestly, to get a copy even at cover or less. Fantastic Four, The Flash, Gun Honey, Gunslinger Spawn, Harley's 30th anniversary. I think I thought this book was already out, if I wasn't mistaken. I need to double check that. I thought I got one already. Oh boy. All right, Herm, here we go. Hell is a Squared Circle, number 1 from Aftershock. It's from Aftershock, though. Oh no, I don't know any of these writers. Let's open this up. What's the credit here? Nothing. Okay, what about the artist? What's the credits? Okay, we have Texas Blood, and that's it. Oh boy. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, Herm. We got another wrestling book coming. Are we going to do 3 for 3, or is this going to be 2 for 3? I don't know. You thought it was okay? New Deceased? Yeah. Are they capturing the feel of the original? Did you read the original one? It is a fun series. I like it when they can take all these characters that we know and love, take them out of continuity, put them in some kind of like world-altering event, and it actually feels high-staked. it feels like there's high stakes. Deceased did a really good job of doing that too. They brought it, and it's an opportunity to bring in all these like C and D list characters, and for them to actually have a role and have a place, because usually a lot of the main characters, like your Supermans and your Batmans and things like that, usually they get taken out, and then it's up to the C, the D and the C and the B list characters to kind of step up and take roles, right? Take on some more roles. And so it's a good opportunity for those types of characters, and they can actually play with a lot of the characters more than they can. So, yeah. So I like Deceased. I like Vampires. It's pretty fun. Oh, is it a one shot? Does it say one shot? Oh. One shock. Oops. Yeah, I mean, if it's a one shot, then maybe 48 page prestige format. Okay. We might try it. Thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate that. All right, so we got Hellboy, Iron Cat, we got Jack Kirby, we got Legion of X, dropped off of that. Little Red Ronin, issue number 3. I swore I ordered issue number 1, it never came in. Jimmy's Little Bastards, I remember that one being on the shelf. Didn't quite pick it up. Jane Foster, fun issue number 1. I think I got issue number 2. Haven't read it though, because I think it came. No, I didn't get number 2. I got number 3. Never got number 2 for some reason. And then, when that happens, I just drop off of it unless I hear just outstanding things and I need to get it. So, yes. Good morning. Thanks for coming in. All right, what else we got? Looney Tunes. For all you Looney Tune fans out there, where's that guy? Where's the Looney Tune guy? He's not in the chat right now. Who's your favorite Looney Tune? Drop it in the chat. Nightwing 96. I hear it got better. My last issue was that holiday issue, I think, where it was a continuation scene, right? Where you can just like fold it all out. I think it was December, something like that. That was my last Nightwing issue. I think Mason and I were talking about that yesterday. And he was saying it kind of suffered for another couple of issues, but then it really picked back up. And I think that's the general consensus. I feel like I might need to get back into that and see where we are. But then I need to go back and figure out where is a good place to start back over again. So we got Public Domain, another Chip Zdarsky book. Interesting premise. It's very meta. It's a good look into like the internal workings of creator-owned content and the reimbursement from that, and if it's fair or not, and who owns what. So it's an interesting behind-the-scenes look into a book. But how long is that going to go on for, and is it going to be something that's going to hold our attention for super long? I don't know. We'll see. Radiant Black, Rick and Morty, Rogues Gallery, pretty cool issue number 1. It's like a bunch of guys sitting around in a comic book store kind of complaining about the film adaptation of their favorite runs and how the actors and writers ruined it, and they want to actually take their revenge out on the actress who kind of like doomed the whole project, and they come up with a plan to take out their revenge, but it doesn't quite go according to plan. So it's a pretty fun issue number 1. I'm looking forward to issue number 2 and 3. It is pretty cool. Shaolin Cowboy, great book, lots of history with the character. You can pick up issue number 1 of this run, Cruel to Be Kin, and you'll be just fine. You'll be enamored by the art style and the coloring and everything. And it is pretty cool though. It is pretty cool. Lots of interesting variants. Ed Piscor does a couple of variants that are pretty fun. So that's cool. My cat is actually ripping apart the door trying to get in. Let me get off camera real quick, and I'm going to actually get her in here real quick. Give me like 5 seconds. All right, we're back. She's going to either tear a hole through the door or the carpet, and she might make an appearance, or she'll just be a cat and be a loser and just tear stuff up. We'll see. 95 is great. Okay. That's a pretty good chop. What's going on? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you and all your support, man. You're always really great and really generous in chat. So I really appreciate everything you do. Tom King is your favorite Looney Tune. Yeah. Isn't that true? She Bites, interesting number 1. Cool little vampire in a little girl's body doing weird stuff, kind of a thing. So I recommend She Bites. Excuse me, if you see it around, pretty fun. Shirtless Bear Fighter. That's what I picture. That's what I picture Billy looking like. Just you know, like a shirtless bear fighter. That's got to be true. That's got to be true. Darth Vader number 27. Look out for any of these Star Wars books. Look out for those Choose Your Destiny variants, because those are pretty interesting. Those Sprouse variants, those are pretty cool. R.L. Stine Stuff of Nightmares. I'm actually getting these because I'm a big R.L. Stine Goosebumps fan back in the day. I was like the perfect age for those books when they came out. I got a whole stack of them that I still collect. I think I dropped the Throw Your Sets Up Saturday a few weeks back. You can check that out. I'm loving everything Goosebumps, and so I saw that comic coming out and I'm like, ooh, I gotta get that. I wish that like this cover right here is more of what a Goosebumps books cover would look like, a more modern one. You know what I mean? But the main cover, not necessarily. Like the art style is not right. But it's in the same vein, right? But it's just not the same. Hey, I told you she'd make an appearance. And then this one kind of tries to get that Nightmare Street kind of stuff. Yeah, interesting. I'll pick it up, see what's going on. What else we got? Not a whole lot up here. Vanish number 1. That's a Substack book from Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. It's finally hitting print. We've gotten a lot of like previews and hints of what it looks like. We got like the first few pages and things like that throughout the year on Substack. Not a great Substack, if I'm totally honest with you. This was supposed to be some kind of an exclusive. We had this and we had another book that was kind of promised in the very, very beginning if you're like a founder or something like that. And we really haven't seen the benefits of that Substack yet. And then all of a sudden we're getting this in print. So it's like, why did I join the Substack to begin with? I can't recall why. So it was kind of a disappointing thing from there. But we all get to enjoy Vanish number 1. Should be interesting. We'll see. More Walking Dead, more What's the Furthest Place from Here. We have some more Wind. We have X-Men. We have that Legends number 2. I think this is the one with that. Yeah, here it is. That Jim Rugg variant. That like ink on notebook paper sketch variant, which I think is pretty cool. Yep. So there's that one. Let's see here. Oh, Kitty. Yeah, she's a lap cat. Yeah, I work from home, and so she's constantly with me. So she's just used to that. All right, last week of the month. Let's get through it. I know I actually have a VV drop here in about 1 minute and 40 seconds as well. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. I'll let you know how that goes. It happens at 10 o'clock Central almost every day. So we're about 1 minute and 30 from that. So I might hop and do that for 1 second and then jump back in here. So Agents of the World, issue number 3. I have issue number 1 in that stack down there. It's one of Robbie's favorite books from Pop Culture Philosophers. So I'll definitely be interested in that. A lot of people read it and they liked it a lot. So we'll see. ASM number 10. We talked about that already. Ant-Man number 3. I don't know if I continued this one or not. This league is a little bit out of date compared to what my actual poll is. So that's what's going on. Take it off. Watch the last 4 hours on the rewind. I'm almost done. Shut up. Oh, gosh. Barbaric number 3. Astronaut Down. What else we got? Batman Beyond. I want to get in the Sean Murphy universe, but I haven't gotten into that all the way, and so I think I'm so many series behind or mini series behind that I need to like do a lot of recap. Crazy detailed art. That's exactly what I'm hearing, and I can't wait to get into it. I have issue number 1, like I said, wrapped up still. I need to get into there, and I have issue number 2 and 3 ordered, so it should be pretty fun. What else we got? Audio Adventures. We got Fortress. Nah, that's okay. Blue Flame, Blair. I don't know. All right, we're going to take a minute here. We actually have this cool Disney drop going on VV right now. VV NFTs. I'm actually going to try to grab one real quick. It'll just take like 10 seconds or so. We'll see if I can actually get one, because it's actually a pretty interesting one. And we'll see. So I was able to get one. And we're going to let it go through. There's like these little posters. There's 4 of them. And so, you know, basically if you get anything over just like the most common one, it's pretty good value. And so I'm just going to see which one I got real quick. I was able to get one. And order processing on the phone. We'll see what it is. I have a bunch of videos about VV. Nothing super recent because they're kind of difficult to do. And I got a rare. Outstanding. Okay, cool. We'll see where it goes. Task Force Z. No, or Task Force S. No, I chose to read DC vs. Vampires instead of Task Force. I feel like neither of them have been really well received, but I like vampires personally. So there's that. We have Briar, I don't know, #1. We'll see what that one is. From Boom Studios. Let's see. Max, we have Vampires. We talked about that one already. Captain Canuck, Calculated Man from Aftershock. Death Kingdom #5 from Red 5, or Death Kingdom #1 from Red 5. Department of Truth, Detective Comics, again, looking forward to that. That's an interesting run. I like the art style change, especially on the covers. It's real weird and like, I don't know, I just like it. Dogs of London. There's that Gambit everyone liked. Elvira again, 8 Billion Genies. It seems like we're kind of like repeating a lot of the books we've already seen. Grimm #5. That's a new issue instead of a reprint because there's just nothing but reprints for Grimm nowadays. Harley Quinn. Who killed Harley Quinn? Issue #22. Who knows? I'm sure she's not dead. She'll be fine. I Hate This Place. Fun book. Fun premise, fun book. I think it's one of those books where it's not going to really mean anything when it's over. It's just going to be, it's a fun read while you're in there. And it's a fun little premise and everything. So I've been liking it a lot. House of Slaughter. Really weird. Really weird. I think we're 2 or 3 issues in this run so far. And I'm like, not really hooked yet. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. Human Target #7. Let's open this real quick. Tom King, Greg Smallwood. So same team. Is this the continuation of the original? I mean, not the original. It is #7, but I thought there was like a weird one-shot happening before this one. Maybe this is not it. Maybe this is the continuation of where we left off prior to our break. We'll see though. Image #6. Locust #2. Ballad of Man. That book came out like a year ago. #1. Magic Order. We'll see if it can hold strong. I wonder if this is the final volume. Volume 1 was fun. Volume 2 was like, oof. It had its moments. And Volume 3 so far has been okay. You been liking that? Yeah. Yeah, I like it so far. It's pretty fun. The art's pretty wonky. The story is fun. It's not bad. You miss old school Hawkman. I never got into Hawkman. Let's see. But you said you were a big DC fan, so I would imagine you would be into those older characters as well. Minor Threats #2. I thought I got issue #1. Maybe I didn't. Can't remember. New Think. Talk about a book that issue #1 and issue #3 of New Think makes you want to break your phone as soon as you read that issue. Issue #2 makes you want to, like, I don't know what it makes you want to do. It doesn't have a strong visceral reaction like issue #1 and issue #3 do. Issue #3 is actually one of my favorite books that I've read in a little while. I think it's going to make one of my top books of the month. So issue #10 of Nice House. We're going to be wrapping up that series pretty soon, and we haven't gone anywhere since issue #2 or 3. We have the same problems with the same people. We'll see how he closes it out. That book's definitely been dragging on, I feel like, with the bad release schedule and with just the story in general. There's probably a good reason for it, but like, I don't know. We'll see. Old Dirt #1. Interesting cover, at least. I think I have that one pre-ordered. We're going to see what's going on. Ordinary Gods. I cannot believe this book is still going on. To be completely honest with you, I think I read the first 3 issues and fell off. And we're on issue #9 already. Radio Apocalypse #3. I'll believe it when I see it. I love this book. I actually bought a 9/8 cover A for #1 because I really, really enjoyed issue #1 and issue #2. They were like my picks of the month. And I was so excited for this book, but the release schedule has destroyed all of that. And I don't even believe it's coming out at this point. And I think on my other app where I actually manage all my polls, it said it was the final issue or something like that. And I'm like, how can that possibly be? We're 3 issues in. The story's just getting started. I don't understand. So hopefully it wasn't canned. So if anybody knows Ram, I know he's a friend. I know he's a friend of the show for several people. So it's like, we've got to reach out to Ram and see what happened with the Radio Apocalypse. Somebody get him on a show somewhere. For Brody #1, cool premise. I just wanted to get it real quick and see what it's all about. Rogue Sun. I'm not dipping into that universe necessarily anymore. No, it won't. That's what I'm saying. Really? When did that come out? Punisher War Journal Blitz. I mean, I've heard of it, but I never read it. That was the last book that gave you good satisfaction? I feel like that came out a long time ago, didn't it? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the reason why I didn't read it. Because it came out so long ago. I came in at a really weird time. I came in right when Rebirth was like announced and New 52 was wrapping up and Walking Dead was a big thing. That's when I started reading comics. And so when you're going into that kind of a scene, you're reading Invincible and you're reading Saga and you're reading Walking Dead, and then Rebirth comes and then you start over all those characters in DC, and then you jump into Marvel and you're like, Marvel's not ready yet, right? And then a few years later, Hickman comes on. That's kind of like my experience with the big two. I started mostly in the indie scene, and then I went into the big two because it was a good opportunity, I thought at the time, for DC. And so that, and then that release schedule that I was reading 10 or 15 books a week since 2016. And so it's like, you don't have time to go back and read books from the 70s and 80s necessarily. I did dip into X-Force a lot when I first started reading because they were super cheap, and Cable was a really interesting character, I thought. So I dipped into that a little bit. And so, yeah. Yeah, no kidding. What happened to that book? Rob Liefeld's New 52 Hawkman is freaking awesome. Okay. No one knows about it, but it's the best Hawkman. You know about it. You're right. That's not good PR. I didn't think about that. Shit. Well, he's not even writing the book anymore. It's all Al Ewing. So I haven't seen Rom's name on a credit for that book in like 4 issues. No, it hasn't gotten an issue yet. It hasn't gotten a 2 yet. What is this, the 90s? Yeah, exactly. No, I just totally understand. Totally understand. Yeah, that is funny though. I like that. I'm jealous of everyone who's read all those old books and have been reading for so long. I find it rare that a lot of the old school readers or kind of kept up that pace into the modern era. A lot of them read a lot of books from the 70s and the 80s and maybe dipped into the 90s, and then stuff happened, right? And then maybe they popped back in here and there. I don't know a lot of people that read a ton of stuff growing up through the 70s and 80s and 90s and still read it like that. And most that do, like the few that do, don't like what's going on at all in the modern era. It's like every reference they have is from the 80s and 90s, which is fine. You know, it's just like, you know the era that you read. Yeah, I started 2099, but like, again, I think I would rather read quote unquote present day in continuity stuff, because I feel like it has more implication to like what's actually happening now, or it means more because of it. When you start getting to like other time periods and stuff like that, it's like, who cares? Not who cares from a what does it mean for today perspective, not from a like a jerk perspective. Yeah, so I just picked up those. My shop has a 50% off back issue sale every once in a while, a few times a year. And every time they do that, I go through their Uncanny run and I just buy it all up. I buy all the gaps. So, and I went midday on day 2 of the sale. So I don't want to hear like, oh, Nick's took everything. It's like, no, I didn't. I went day 2. They don't like anything from today. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of get off my lawn people out there. So they're hard to please. All right, After School issue number 3. I have issue number 1 and number 2. I think they're all separate stories, right? That's what I've heard so far. Again, it's on the backlog. Sandman, Nightmare Country, issue number 6. I need to get into that show, Sandman show. I haven't gotten into that yet. I've been digging this run so far. It's not bad. It's not bad. Shang-Chi in the 10 Rings. I always say Shang-Chi because I guess I was stupid, and I just, like everybody else, before the movie came out, nobody knew how to say that I was around anyway. So we have issue number 3. I read issue number 1. It was okay. I didn't read issue number 2. And issue number 3 is coming out. Something Juicy number 1. It's a weird image. Sonic the Hedgehog number 53. There's 53 of those dang books. That's insane. Sparks of Chaos issue number 1 from Comics Experience Publishing. You guys know Comics Experience Publishing. Dr. Aphra, Han Solo, and Chewbacca. Stillwater. Stillwater's still out, huh? Number 15. A book I regret not getting back in the day. I'm telling you. Space Age number 2. Really looking forward to that one. This one got a lot of hate on a lot of channels, but then like everybody else loved it. It got a lot of hate on a very few channels and everybody else loved it. So whatever. Task Force Z. There's that Task Force Z we were talking about earlier. There you go. I try to read modern stuff, but I get so bored with it. I love modern indie stuff though in manga. Yeah. What do you get bored with? Do you get bored with like the storylines or the storytelling? Oh, here she is again. Or the storytelling methodology? Because if you read a lot of stuff back in the day, I think you're probably used to a decent amount of a decent amount of action, right? But like a lot more dialogue. Like if you read Claremont stuff, it's like reading novels. So what bores you about the modern stuff? The storytelling methodology, or the pacing of the books, or the art style, or the shift in the action versus the storytelling? Do that. Space Age. What a cool book. Yeah, it was a great book. It was one of my favorite books of the month. It read like a life story. Something, dude. I'll do that on my OnlyFans. Which I appreciate that. I see a lot of people. I recognize a lot of names over that platform too from here, so I appreciate all the stuff in there. Too many crossovers. I feel like they need to have. Unfortunately, they feel like they need to have an event, a major event every single year. And when they do a major event, they have to interrupt every other ongoing book to introduce a small piece of that to maintain that continuity across the board. And when you do that, you really kind of throw a wrench in stuff, especially when you're the run that you're kind of interrupting to do this crossover in was already chasing a lot of different threads at once. And let's say you only enjoyed 1 or 2 threads that they initiated, and then you're 6, 7, 8 issues in, and then you get a crossover that kind of delays everything again. It's like, oh my God, what are you doing? That's when I get irritated with that kind of stuff. You heard McFarlane might take over DC Comics. Wouldn't that be fun? He can set it right, yeah. With his get off my lawn mentality, for sure, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun when they can kind of tie it back in, right? If they can do something in those futuristic landscapes or the historic ones, and it kind of ties into the current day stuff and maybe provides a little bit of explanation, that would be kind of fun and a good way of using that, a good tool to use to kind of fill in some things. But the thing is, like, you'd have to read the original run, and then you'd have to read these Elseworld runs, and you'd have to acknowledge the fact that there's a gap or something to be explained, and then you got to read that to help fill in the gap. So it's like you have to read everything. You wouldn't know when to stop. And if you didn't read 2099, would you not? You wouldn't get that explanation. But it's fun when they do that. That's a good technique to use because it kind of keeps you. But you have to advertise that, I think, too. It's like, want to know more? Read this run or something like that. If I'm following you correctly, I think that's what you're trying to say. That's a good point, though. It's mostly the modern storylines with heroes in DC and Marvel. I'm tired of reboots and resets. Dialogue isn't great in a lot of the books. Totally agree. You're not wrong there at all. No kidding. Hoxpox. I would love you long-term X-Men readers that dropped off whenever you dropped off to pick up Hickman's House of X and Powers of X. I'd love you guys to read that and see what you think about that. That had a very different feel to it. I think it meant a lot to the story in general, right? And a lot of people love that book, House of X and Powers of X. You can then go into Hickman's X-Men run. It's like 21 issues, I believe. And then he also did Inferno, which I think was 4 to 6 issues long. Never read the manga for DBZ, but I watched all the shows growing up. So I didn't read too much. I didn't watch too much Super though. Just Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, pretty much everything from Goku being like a little kid, all the way through, Buu Saga, I think. So from like the end of Buu Saga down, I'm pretty fluent with everything. Like Buu Saga on, I kind of outgrew it a little bit. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, because if you have a good foundation of the characters themselves, you can then watch other channels and you can kind of get an idea what they're doing. And if you've been reading them for decades, it's kind of like they're probably not doing anything super original. You're probably like, well, yeah, they did that in the 70s. Oh, they did that in the 90s. Oh, they're doing it again. That's how I imagine that conversation going internally. Well, let's wrap up this week right here, because we only got a couple more rows. We have Thor issue number 27. I actually didn't get Hulk, the last issue of Hulk that came out this past week, and then I read it. I had to go back and get it and read it, and I was like, okay. Donny Cates is an interesting way of taking. This is my Donny Cates breakdown for Hulk and Thor, and pretty much any character that he touches in DC, or I'm sorry, in Marvel. He takes the character and he takes whatever universal concepts that we have established over the decades and decades of that character. He takes that universal concept that not a lot of other writers have really gone into, and he destroys them. And then he reinvents them in a way, and then he just makes a story about it. Case in point, he takes Mjolnir and completely destroys Mjolnir, breaks it into pieces, reestablishes it, puts it back together, and embodies it with a different soul. You know what I mean? Okay, so we have that. Then he destroys. I don't want to get too much into the spoilers, but it's like he finds things that other people haven't destroyed yet around those characters, and he destroys them. So it's just really weird how he does that. He takes Hulk. He separates all these different personalities. He puts him in silos and things like that, and tells you how and why he does all that stuff, and then he makes him just completely weird. And people can't resonate with that because it's so distant from the Hulk that they actually know. But everybody else that kind of just turns their brain off, like me, and reads the book, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool and fun. But it's like it took a lot of craziness to kind of get that story actually written. Yeah. Yep. That's hilarious. That's funny. All right, Tim Drake. We have issue number 1. Who's writing this? Megan Fitzmartin. What's Megan Fitzmartin done? Credited with Urban Legends. It's a little bit of detective back in the day. Young Justice. Okay, that figures. Okay, so let's keep going. We have Transformers. We have Undiscovered Country, Vampire Slayer, Vampirilla, X-Men number 15, and Z People. What is Smith Comics? Z People number 1. What in the world is this? There's like a bunch of zombies. Just reminds me of that game. What was that game that came out like on Xbox and PlayStation? Or I think it was Xbox back in the day. We were like in a mall killing zombies. This reminds me of that immediately when I looked at this. What is this? Peak real estate. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, I didn't miss any of this X-Men stuff. Krakoa era is brilliant. Making a lack of death in the comic stories. Yeah, I definitely saw the issue with that, and I think it was Immortal X-Men, the last issue of Immortal X-Men. I mean, it was all introduced in a really fun way, but how it's played out since its creation has been getting on my nerves a little bit. It's basically like we have this giant celestial coming. Let's throw all of our big guns at it, and if they die, doesn't matter. We just got the 5 over here. We're going to bring them back to life, and that's exactly what happened. It's like, go ham, guys. Essentially go inside the thing and self-destruct, and we'll just resurrect you. And that's what they do. It's like, okay, well, how long can you do that for? What are you talking about? Chi-Chi's like the most feared thing in the world. And so is Android, what was it, 18? She has a big role. Then you have Chi-Chi. Frieza is... I don't know what Frieza is, honestly. And then you had some of the newer Saiyans that came around during the tournament stuff. Yeah, we all know Billy. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. I do want to give another little plug real quick to the Comic Book Community Awards. We just got nominated for 2 different awards. I'm not saying go vote for me. I'm saying that these things exist and that you can go to the link. I'll go ahead and put it back in the comments again and vote for your favorite. You don't have to vote for me. I don't care. You don't have to vote for me because I'm telling you about this. I'm just saying these things exist and you should go on here. And if there's somebody that you like inside of these categories, go give them a vote. go give them a vote. I'm sure they would really appreciate it. So these things exist, and pay attention to them, and yeah, give your favorite creator a vote on the categories that you think are worth it. So there you go. I appreciate it. Yeah, we got nominated for best reviews, and we got nominated for best ongoing for Nick at Night, my comic book review show. So I got 2 noms for the same show, which is pretty much all I do. But again, you don't have to vote for me. I'm just telling everybody that it's a thing, and that if you want to, you can go in there and support your favorite creators, because it does take a lot of work to do this, and we always appreciate all the feedback and all the comments and everything you guys do. So it does help drive this whole passion forward. So there you go. Exactly. So again, this is what's coming out in September. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for hanging out with me real quick. I'm going to open like 3 or 4 things. If you want to hang out and see what I got, totally cool, totally fine. I might find a way to rip this part out and put it as a separate video. So we're just going to go, open a couple things. Yeah. No, you don't have to vote for me, but I appreciate it. I just want people to understand that it's a thing, it's out there, and go for it. I'm completely being honest with you. Congratulations to the noms. I appreciate it. Having the views and the interactions on the videos themselves mean more to me, honestly. But of course, nominations are always good. It's always fun to be recognized. So just trying to be as humble as I can be and as honest with you all as I can be about the whole situation. So I appreciate the nominations. I appreciate the votes. And yeah, and I appreciate the interaction and the views and the likes and the comments and everything else. And you guys hanging out with me week after week after week doing that. So I love all that stuff. So I appreciate all the comments and everything. So let's go drop this real quick. All right, I'm just gonna open like 3 or 4 things. So this first one right here is a blame Phable moment for sure. I know he's not on here right now, but I'm gonna definitely ping him because he showed this off as well. So there's a vendor called Limited Run Games. Limited Run actually creates physical copies of games that were not physical for a certain platform. So I have a Switch, and so I went ahead and got this Limited Run Knights of the Old Republic on the Switch. So I remember playing this when it first came out a long time ago, and I went ahead and picked this one up because he was throwing it in my face. Oh, look what they got, look what they got. And so they have a bunch of other ones coming out as well, and I have a few more on the way, but it took like months and months to get this thing back, which was really a pain in the ass, but it finally came back in, and there it is. I might just leave it wrapped up. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with this one yet, because I just built a new PC, which is what I'm streaming on right now, and I can always play it on there too. Billy's not wrong. Such a great game. Yeah, it is a great game. Yeah, I think they have Knights of the Old Republic 2 hitting campaign pretty soon too, but like if I pre-ordered it now, I won't see it until like mid next year probably, or like, you know, Q2 of next year. So it is a really good game. And then I have a couple of these I'm going to open real quick just to kind of see what they are. I actually have a stack of them. Whenever I watch videos, review videos, people doing their hauls, things like that, whenever I see some stuff coming in and I didn't pick them up, I tend to go into the aftermarket and see if I can grab them. And so I have literally like a stack of 15 things from the last couple of months, and I don't even know what they are. So we're going to open these together and figure it out, because I can't keep track of what I ordered and when they came in. So this, again, this is a Blame Phable. These are those Sprouse Choose Your Destinies. So I went ahead and picked up a bunch of these. You know, we have our Ahsoka. And I actually got a few of these at the shop, but there was a few of them that came out already before I kind of made this decision to jump in. And so I went ahead and got these in the aftermarket. And so I have a bunch of these now, and I think they're going to look really great all together. And I think there's like some first appearances, perhaps, or cover appearances at least. So, you know, those are always benefits to getting things like that. We have, yeah, the Ahsoka is really awesome. It is a Switch version of the game. So again, Limited Run Games, they take digital copies of the games, they make them in physical format, and they did Knights of the Old Republic for Switch. So it's actually like legitimate, you know. And so it's your regular case, and so there you go. They had Knights of the Old Republic 2 coming out, and they have a bunch of other ones coming out as well. I think they're like $34.99 for these releases. And they did all these other different things, all these different games. So check out Limited Run Games, not sponsored or anything like that. So it's just something that I use that you know, people, if you're curious and you have a Switch and you want to get on board, that's what you do. That's where you go. We're voting for Nick 2024. Yeah, that is a really good cover. I'm voting for Nick 2024. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like on the left to right scale, I'm kind of right in the middle. I'm like, well, yeah, he's right. Oh yeah, well he's right and he's right. So why are we fighting so much? All right, let's open this one. I don't even know. Lots of tape on the inside. How much else do you measure? All right, I gotta cut this out. I don't mind these Geminis, but like when they put tape on the inside too, it's like, holy crap. All right, what do we got? The DeSantis Nick. Jeez. I am not somebody who actually stays up on top of like politics at all. I actually left social media because I couldn't take it anymore years ago. Back in like 2016, I practically left social media because of it. I can't deal with this right now. Ah, okay. So this is that Hardly number 16. Went ahead and got that one because this was actually a pretty hot book, and so I went ahead and got that one. Looks to be in pretty good shape. And with the 30th anniversary coming out, it just made sense. It made sense to get some kind of a cool book like that. His cat will be his running mate. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Maya would love that. I think. Let me move my coffee. So this is actually a bigger package right here. I've been sitting on this one for a long time. Just wanting to get into here. It's a pre-order that I made quite a while ago. And since then, people have gotten their copies of this. And I've showed it off. And so now I was early to the party, and now I'm late to the party. So we'll see what I got. Just put that down. Speaking of DC, we got our Black Adam. This is that McFarlane Toys Black Adam little figure over here and comic in the back. It looks like it's like partially popped a little bit. It's like this real cheap plastic mold. Looks like some of the stickers are worn off a little bit. But got that one. And what does it say? It says includes English comic book right here. Crazy. And then of course we got Batman with that Hush cover. So there you go. Got a reprint of 108, or sorry, 608, the little Batman figure with page punchers. I don't know what that means. Man, he looks mad, dude. Look at him. He's growling. Yeah, it's always a good idea. Universal catnip. For sure. Speaking of Flashpoint, we talked about Flashpoint a whole bunch, so I got that Flash and Flashpoint on here. So you can see the little figure. Let's see if we can actually get him. Yeah. My name's Ezra Miller, and I do weird stuff all the time. It ruined my career. There you go. There's your Flash from Flashpoint. And then last but not least, we got Superman. #1, Rebirth. We talked about Rebirth a little bit as well. So there you go. So I got all those 4. I actually like these little tiny figures. I collect a lot of the retro figures. And so these are kind of in that same vein, you know what I mean? At least size-wise. I think the retros are actually a little bit bigger. But yeah, got all 4 of those DC things. So I've been sitting on that box for a long time, so I'm glad to actually open that one up. I have a stack of other things that I could open, but I might say that for another time just for now. But hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out a little bit of extra innings here, going into overtime a little bit. Hope you enjoyed the comic book look ahead. So thanks again for watching and everything. You guys are great. I'm going to go ahead and drop off, get some breakfast, get another cup of coffee, see what the family's doing right now. Hope you have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day for sure. Thanks for coming in. We will see you next time. See you later. Bye.